Good afternoon. Welcome to Homes by Vanda. Thank you for joining us on our Friday live show. My name is Vanda Andrus. I'm your host. I am a residential real estate agent in Bergen County. I'm also a board member with Fort Lee Regional Chamber of Commerce, which is where I met our today's guest, Vivian Green Corner. Vivian, welcome. Hello.
Thank you. Thanks, Vanda. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. So Vivian Green Corner is a certified dementia care practitioner in Bergen County. And I first met Vivian in our women networking group at Fort Lee Regional Chamber of Commerce. And she impressed me as such a caring and compassionate person about what she does that I could not have imagined having a better guest speaker on our today's topic. Vivian has an extensive clinical experience and background in caring for seniors with dementia and Alzheimer in hospital, residential, and community-based settings. Vivian also is highly educated. She has a master's degree from New York University. Hi, fellow alumna. And Vivian is an advocate for dementia care in her community. She's also a volunteer on multiple organizations, and she's serving in these organizations, just to say a few: Alzheimer Association Volunteer Caregiving Support Group Facilitator, Bergen County Caregivers Coalition, Northern New Jersey Senior Care Network, and PAN of Rockland County and New Jersey Network Alliance. This is very impressive, Vivian. I can't imagine, but you're just a joy to work with, and you're a true help to people who you serve. Vivian, today we're going to be talking about caring for seniors during quarantine, as seniors are the mostly impacted population from this pandemic. So I could not have imagined having a better professional to talk about this topic. So what comes to my mind is, how do we start the conversation? What's the best way to, or how do we approach our seniors in our lives, our loved ones, our neighbors, or someone we know and want to reach out and help? So I'd like to talk to you about that and offer us some tips on that, and also what does that care look like? Also, if you have any resources that you can refer us to, that would be very helpful. So Vivian, without further ado, please help us out caring for seniors during quarantine.
My pleasure. My pleasure. The first question is, why do we need to reach out to seniors? Why is that important? It's important because we need to be concerned about their emotional and overall well-being. Although no two seniors are alike, they do share some common concerns. Many seniors are feeling very isolated right now, very preoccupied as to when is this stay at home going to end and when can their normal life resume. And most importantly, seniors like their independence. They are not so reliant on others or wanting to be dependent on others. They're not so quick to pick up the phone and ask for help. Now, I can say, like many of us, we kind of get disoriented. Is it Thursday? Is it Friday? What did I do this morning? But seniors, this is more of a concern, because losing a sense of what day it is or what time it is could be of greater concern, because it can mean, did I take my medication? Did I take it twice? Did I miss lunch? Did I have lunch? They can sleep more and maybe out of boredom. And if they're sleeping more, there's more likelihood that they could become more confused. Now, I want to underscore that's important to know, not all seniors, in fact, are having a difficult time right now. Some are doing just fine. I've called seniors and it's like, I'm liking this. I'm having more time to read the newspaper. I taught myself how to live stream on my computer. I'm seeing things that I've never seen before. I've learned how to use YouTube. Some are doing just fine, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't check in. Who wouldn't like to have a conversation? It's very, very easy to just pick up the phone and call. Now, some people I understand can be a little uncomfortable. How do you start this conversation? It's just a matter of saying, hi, I'm calling. I've been speaking to friends and family and just want to know, how are you doing? What have you been up to? And then pause and just listen. As I said, some seniors will happily surprise you with how they're doing, and others might concern you. So again, open up, how are things going? And then ask them, how are they spending their day? Pause and listen. Some might be saying, it's very hard for me. I'm very nervous. I don't know when this is going to end. I keep watching the news and I'm very scared. And honestly, we all are scared. So there's nothing wrong by joining with them and saying, I know how you feel. I also wanted to ask you, is there anything that you need? And have a list in front of you, a little checklist. And that checklist should include questions like, are you getting your groceries? Do you have enough meals or medication? Anything I can do for you? Anything that you need? It can be small, like light bulbs or batteries, or something more significant. And I've been surprised with the answers I've gotten. One person said to me, I have enough food, but I'm afraid that I'm going to run out of food. And I've said to them, you can have food delivered. Where do you get your food from? The woman said to me, ShopRite. And I said, well, it's easy. You just give them your card. And she said, I don't have a ShopRite card. And that's where I started to say, can I get you a card? How would you feel if I called up ShopRite for you? And I called ShopRite, and then we got her on Instacart. She was so thankful. I had somebody else who literally said he needed a pair of socks. He was running out of socks, and he had intended to get a new sweater, but who's going out now? I can't go out. And I said to him, you know what? I can order that for you. I can go on Macy's and probably get a promotion code. I could set it up in a cart and just send you the link on your computer. And he did it. He was so grateful. So it's really, you don't know unless you ask. And you'd be surprised with what people need. And sometimes people just need that conversation. Who doesn't like to have somebody call and say, I've been thinking about you? So it's very, very important. Now, I happen to know, and we might all know resources that we know about Instacart, we know about Meals on Wheels, prescriptions can be delivered, we know about local takeout. Don't assume that seniors know about that. Ask them what they need, and then if you don't have an answer, say, let me look into it and I'll get back to you about that. There are lots of resources now to support people who are staying at home. But again, don't assume that seniors know that. I'm on my computer all day long. People are calling me. I'm very well networked. That's not the same for an older population. We can't assume that they are as knowledgeable and as comfortable with getting on the computer and again, networking, because as I said earlier, seniors don't like to ask for help. They don't like to be reliant on people. So keep it light, keep the conversation easy. And I always like to tell people at the end of the conversation, this was so great to speak with you. Can I call you again? Now, some might say, you know what? I really appreciate your calling. It's okay. You don't need to call me again. and others might welcome a call. It's very doable, but it's really very, very necessary at this point in time. So that's all I have to say. We do a great service by reaching out, and there's a lot we can learn from seniors. So start that conversation.
I agree with you, Vivian. I found myself also surprised when I reached out to someone I know, my former coworker, and she was the one who gave me a tip on watching Philharmonics live. So it wasn't an information I was expecting. And you're so right about asking a question and not knowing what is the answer. And you might be really surprised about what they need, just like you said. What light bulbs or batteries. It's such a common things for us to think about, but yet we might think about food and these type of items more than anything else. So
Yes,
asking that question really really helps.
yes, yes. And I want to underscore that when all the discussion that seniors are more vulnerable, it is again, as I said, we might not remember what day it is, but it doesn't have as much of an impact on us. It's kind of annoying, but it is more of a concern for an older adult to get disoriented in this way. And that's why it's so helpful to check in and see how they are doing.
You are right. I mean, especially the concern with forgetting about the days and in connection with taking medications timely, that is just crucial. So just from that perspective, that's just invaluable help.
You got to ask the questions because you'd be surprised. I mean, for instance, they might not want to, they might be living in a building where there is public washing machines and dryers, and they can't use that, so they're not cleaning their clothes. And they haven't been cleaning their clothes for weeks. Who would think that? I mean,
Right.
if you have your own washing machine and dryer, you don't even think about that.
That's true.
So that's why you have to ask, anything has changed for you, anything that you find you're not getting to, ask those open-ended questions. It's
That's very
important.
good advice, Vivian. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you again for including me. I appreciate it.
Of course, my pleasure, Vivian. And since we're live on Facebook, if we have anybody in audience that wanted to ask a question, we usually allow for that during our show. So let me just quickly check to see if we have any particular questions. But for those of you who are more hesitant to ask publicly for help or any guidance, we have Vivian's contact information on running under our pictures there. So feel free to reach out to Vivian offline. And so I don't see any particular comments right now, but please feel free to reach out to Vivian directly, or if you wanted me to connect you with Vivian, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you again for joining us today. We hope that you found those tips and what we've discussed helpful to you. I surely did. And I'd like to also announce the topic of our next week Friday weekly show, and that will be talking about how the pandemic impacted international markets, as we have real estate professional joining us on our live show next week from Czech Republic and France. So very excited for that. We will air on Friday at 12 o'clock Eastern Time. Thank you again. And thank you, Vivian, for taking your time out of your busy schedule. Stay
My
well.
pleasure.